You're listening to the Deep Purple Podcast, a fan podcast about one of the most legendary bands of all time, Deep Purple. We take a look at the music, history, and people behind the band Deep Purple and beyond. Welcome to the Deep Purple Podcast, the first and only podcast devoted to one of the greatest bands in rock history, Deep Purple. Today's episode is episode number 124, Eddie Hardin Wizards Convention bonus tracks. And coming to you from the temperate suburbs of Chicago, I'm your host, Nathan Beaudry.
And coming to you 992 miles away from Chicago, I'm your co-host, John Tax Fraud Matola.
All right, lay it on me. What sort of fraud have you committed? This is being recorded, so this could be evidence.
Well, apparently, I got a letter today from the Department of Treasury.
Okay.
We found a miscalculation on your 2020 Form 1040, and now I owe the government $258.93.
Ugh.
Not the worst amount to owe, but I'd rather not throw $250 away like for nothing in return.
No, I mean, yeah, luckily it wasn't like you owe us $25,000.
Well, I mean, I was expecting a federal refund of $350, which still hasn't gone through yet, but I figure maybe that's why it didn't, because they found an error. But this is the first time that I've ever had at least since I can remember, owed any money or a mistake was found. So I guess my time is up.
It's like that. There's like a tweet about that, about just how screwed up our tax system is. And it's like, the government's like, hey, you owe us money. And we're like, how much? You need to figure it out. You guess. Is it this much? Nope. You have to go to jail.
I mean, it's true.
Pretty much how it is, right? It's the stupidest system in the world. It's like, how much we owe you. Just freaking tell us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not a goddamn accountant over here. It's like I'm probably the worst person with numbers, and I got to figure this out or pay somebody to do it, even worse.
Well, right. It's just I don't know how it works in other countries. So I mean, for all I know, I'm sure it's a nightmare in every country, but it's just so stupid that it works that way. Luckily, my cousin Jeff, who is referenced on the show quite often, is my accountant. So and he is an accountant too. So he's not just doing this like he normally digs ditches, but he does my tax.
It's a side hustle.
He's a professional accountant and has been my accountant forever, which is good, through all sorts of crazy things and businesses and all that sort of stuff. So very, very good. Great. So we just send him. Well, I don't even do it anymore. Jen just sends him all of our files. Like, she compiles them all and just shoots them over to him, and he takes care of the rest. It's a great thing.
Here.
I mean,
make sense of this.
we also pay him, so it's not like just getting free taxes. But
so what's going on out there in the tempered suburbs of Chicago?
I don't even know why I said that. I was like, and I was thinking to myself, John, like we usually never even reference what I say. We always like just forget or never come to it. And then I was like, this is gonna be the one week he calls me on it, and I got nothing. I don't even know why I said that.
Well, I was actually thinking
it was kind of nice today, like the weather, and it's going to be really hot and muggy and thunderstormy for the rest of the week. So there you go.
Yeah. So it's actually I was thinking which is funny because you're like, John never referenced it. I think, I never asked Nate what his thing means, so I'm going to ask him today.
Try to remember that next week, and I'll try to have something good. I literally had nothing. I was just like, I don't know. It's been pretty temperate today. Mowed the lawn. It was beautiful. Mowed the lawn. Listen to some podcasts while mowing the lawn. I mean,
sweet.
Doesn't get any better than that. But
no, sir.
But there you have it. So, hey, if you want to support the Deep Purple Podcast, we'll have a little bit of a shorter episode for you today. We're kind of trying to get into that rhythm of one short episode, one kind of longer episode, back and forth, so that we're not just giving you crazy length episodes every single week,
pummeling you away with 2-hour episodes every week.
So So yeah, so there's a few ways you can support the show. One is leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. 2, buy some merch at our Etsy store. The link is in the show notes at deeppurplepodcast.com, where you can find all the information we talk about in every episode, pictures, links, videos, you name it. It's all there. So check it out. You can also become a patron on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can help support the show. You can keep us so that we have got money to be able to put in the kitty and buy albums and buy various stacks of CDs and everything that we'll be talking about today. So that's really good. If for those situations where it's an album that we're going to review and I don't already own it, it's really handy to be able to pick one up, and you can pick up a lot of good used CDs on Discogs for just a few bucks, so it's really nice. Then sometimes buy the vinyl albums when we can get them. So thank you to all of our patrons who donate on Patreon, but also on PayPal. And speaking of which, at the executive level, we have the Turn It Up to $11 tier with Clay Wambacher, Frank Teelgard Mortensen, Alan Ain't Too Proud to Beg, and Mikkel Steen. And at the $10 Someone Came tier, Steve Seaborg of NameOnAnything.com and AllTheWorldsAstage.net, Ryan M., Jeff Bryce, Gerald Kelly, and of course, Victor Campos. Thank you so much to all of you for your generous and ongoing support of the Deep Purple podcast. Speaking of which, we have a a patron upgrade. Sorry, I was a little late there because my daughter was playing with us and she put it somewhere goofy. Had to reach over there and get it. So yeah, Anton Glaving is moving up to the $6.66 tier.
All right.
Really cool. So I sent him a note thanking him, and he said he writes back and says, enjoying the show more than ever. I had been considering upgrading for quite a while. What sealed the deal was your deft move to quietly demote the $3 patrons from core to foundation level. I feel it simply will not do for me to drop below the core level. So here's looking forward to more great content from your splendid podcast. All the best. So thank you very much, Anton Glaving. And I will say he's calling that deft. I'm calling him noticing that deft, because it wasn't meant to be a downgrade or a demotion. It was just simply like, I think we referenced at one of the shows, we had this gigantic group in the middle, and then the $1 ones was kind of a smaller group at the end. So we're just trying to even out those 3 groups that we used to thank everyone. If you're new to the show, we used to thank everybody right up front, but it was getting to be like a 20-minute ordeal every episode. So we try to space it out now so that everybody gets a shout out. So thank you to all of you for helping support the show. And another note in from one of our patrons, Dr. Jill Brees, jumping right on it. As soon as the episode aired, she writes back and says, hi, Nate and John, persistent twitching eye. So it says the most common cause is fatigue, stress, and excessive caffeine. However, if it persists for more than 2 or 3 weeks, then you need to see a doctor, as there are other rare diagnoses which can cause this problem, and it may need to be investigated further. Sorry, can't be of any more help from across the Atlantic, Dr. Jill.
Oh boy.
So how's your eye doing?
You're gonna have to go see a doctor.
Is it still twitching?
Yep.
Oh boy. Well, don't stress about it. I'm sure it's nothing, but
maybe that's why it's twitching.
Well, yeah,
stressed about
you're stressed about it twitching. That's why it won't stop twitching.
Well, I mean, it's like it will, but then you know what I mean? It's not like 24 hours a day. I mean, like it'll go away and then it'll come back or whatever. But I mean, I'm not fatigued, I mean, I get enough sleep, and I don't think that I'm not unduly stressed over anything. And and you're
not really a caffeine guy.
I don't drink. The only thing that I can think of is that that I usually like take a pre-workout before I exercise, and that's a lot of those are known to have a caffeine in them. And I'd recently switched to a different one that I've been using before, and I'm wondering if maybe that's affecting me that way, because I don't really know how caffeine affects me, because like we pointed out, I'm not really a coffee drinker or anything like that. And I mean, I do I work out almost every day. So, I mean, I'll be taking that almost every day. And maybe this particular one isn't good for me. So maybe I
Mhm.
should stop taking it and see what happens.
It could
Or,
be.
go to the doctor before all of a sudden I'm crawling to the computer to like record an episode. And I'm like, because I have like no more motor function, or I don't know.
Well, you seem to be doing okay from our end, but maybe you just call your doctor, or talk to do a televisit or something. I don't know.
Well, thank you to Dr. Jill Reese.
I know it's well, week by week we'll be solving this mystery of John's twitching eye. This is week 3, folks. Week 3 of the twitching eye saga. And or you know what? Sometimes I do. I've had this issue before.
Yeah.
I had this issue with a breakfast cereal that I was eating at work. I started eating it for breakfast every day. And every day, like in the middle of the day, like after lunch, my stomach would be really upset. And I was like, oh man, like what's wrong with my stomach? I feel real gassy every single day. It was like, it just came on out of nowhere. I'm like, this is the weirdest thing in the world. And it was going on for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And then finally, just one day I was like, you know what? Maybe it started when I started eating that breakfast cereal. So one day I just didn't eat that breakfast cereal. Didn't happen. And I was like, that's weird. I was like, was that a coincidence? So the next day I ate the cereal again. Happened exactly the same way. I was thinking it was I was having for lunch, but I think it was for breakfast. And then I found that it had inulin in it, like and that must have just been like really upsetting my stomach. And sure enough, like I've had it happen a few times now where I have that same feeling, and I'll look at like what I've eaten that day, and I'm like, oh, it's got inulin in it. So I try to avoid that. But
It's
well,
interesting.
self-diagnosis. So
Well, I
so maybe
mean,
try. So my point is maybe don't use that pre-workout. Try a
yeah,
different, for a week or so, and see if it goes away.
yeah, maybe I should, because I went away in the middle of last week and I didn't, obviously didn't take it for like maybe 2 or 3 days, but maybe that's not enough. Maybe, like you said, a whole week is, it's probably a simple explanation like that.
Right. Well, and that's Medical Mysteries with Nate and John, our new spin-off podcast. Hopefully we've done some good work here, and we'll get to the bottom of this. So we'll have more updates for you next week. Well, maybe not next week because we're recording our next episode so soon.
Right. Well, tomorrow I'll let you know if
Yeah,
it gets
we're
any
recording our
worse.
next episode in literally like 12 hours. So
So
probably
if
won't.
in the morning, if you see me wearing an eye patch, then you'll know it hasn't gotten any better. Arr.
Oh boy. And speaking of which, we've got the Deep Dive Podcast Network. Check out deepdivepodcastnetwork.com. The link to that is on our website show notes as well, with all of our brother and sister podcasts. You can check them all out there. And then of course we're Dead Daisies Watch is on September 11th as we get closer and closer. We're really close now. I guess well when this episode comes out, yeah, we'll be about 11 or 12 days away.
Yeah.
So we're still kind of hoping it goes
I
okay.
mean, still planning on it. I mean, my schedule came out at work for that week, and I'm off. Still off that weekend, but told everybody, hey, I might just pop up. I might not be going
come into work
anywhere.
anyway.
Might not be going anywhere. So,
Yeah, I've done that before. Like something come up, and I've just been like, I just go to work anyway. Like, what are you doing here? It just didn't work out.
yeah. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's still not looking great, but I mean,
No.
hey, there's everything still seems to be mostly fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of cancellations. No cancellations in this end. There's like mask mandates again in this area. So if that county has one, I mean,
Yeah.
actually probably be a better thing if they did have the mandate for the place. But I guess we'll see what happens. And who knows how they're enforcing it, but we'll see. Hopefully, tentatively planning on doing it. And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, planning to do it until we can't or won't be able to.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Oh boy. All right. So this week we are getting together to talk about the bonus tracks from the Wizards Convention. And if you listen to our Wizards Convention episode, which is episode number, I don't remember, was it 115?
That was smooth.
Yeah.
Episode.
Exactly. I don't think anyone even noticed that. We talked about the Wizards Convention, the album as it was released, and the album's gone through a few iterations. So there was a release that came after the original release that had like 3 additional bonus tracks. Then the one that I got in 1994, which is this one right here, has the 6 additional bonus tracks. And then there's one that came out in 1999 that has it's called The Masters, with Eddie Hardin there, like with his little jeans and shirt on, just kind of leaning against the cover of the album. That one it's 2 discs. It's exactly the same as this, plus an extra disc that has more material that's not really related to Wizards Convention, so it's kind of weird. I mean, some of it's like a later Wizards Convention stuff and other stuff, so, but it's not related to the original Wizards Convention album. So what we'll be listening to should be, if you have the Wizards Convention album, at least some of these tracks, if not all of them, should be familiar to you. And the bulk of my listening to this, when I first started, was on the Butterfly Ball, where they put just a few of the tracks. So this has been like doled out to me over time, very little. So it started with the 6 tracks they included on the Wizards Convention. Then it bumped it up to the full original release album with 11 tracks, then the 11 tracks plus the 3 bonus tracks, then the 11 tracks plus the 6 bonus tracks. So when I heard the 2 CD set came out, I was like, oh my God, more tracks, but they're not really related. So yeah, so slowly, as I've built a tolerance up and just gotten more Wizards Convention tracks in my life, and that's always great. But these the same tracks that feature a lot of the same players. The big difference with these tracks that we're going to listen to today is that 2 of the 6 feature Ronnie James Dio on vocals. So, and they didn't make the original album. So that's really going to be of interest and note to any Dio fans out there. So if you're listening to this podcast, you probably fall into that category. So that's the kind of the setup, not much more to go. And, I guess I'd say one of the disappointing things about these re-releases, I mean, they're really nice, but like looking at this one right here, like my main thing was like, oh, great, there's going to be lots of information in this booklet. And it was kind of like he tells a cool story about how it came about, and he talks about some of the stuff. There's some pictures that you're familiar with that you've seen before of the Deep Purple guys. But there's not like a great rundown of who plays on what and all. I like to just have all the info, like this person played the maracas on this track and this person did that. There's not a ton of that. The only thing that you can just kind of that the information that you get from here is who sang on what track, which is kind of obvious. The 2 Dio tracks are mostly Eddie Hardin and Dio singing in unison together, which creates and we'll get to it when we get to those tracks again, but it creates a really distinct sound, which I think is really cool. And like we talked about on the original Wizards Convention, we already heard some of that with him and other singers too, which we kind of feel like he laid down a vocal guide track, the other guy sang over it, and they liked the effect of them blended together, so they just left it that way. That being said, it's Dio, so he'll go off a little bit too. So the first track on this album or on the bonus tracks, I should say, is I'm Looking Forward to Tomorrow. And this track is sung by Billy Ocean, which is
the Billy Ocean.
So this would have been kind of early on in his career. Billy Ocean's awesome. Really big fan. My wife is a huge Billy Ocean fan. And we kind of like with this, you always grew up with Billy Ocean, right? Caribbean Queen and, Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car, so songs like that they played on the radio. Red Light Means Danger. You ever heard that track?
No.
Oh, that's a jam. It's so good.
I'm only familiar with probably the 2 you mentioned.
Yeah. Red Light Means Danger, I think, is probably one of my favorites by him. Really, really good. But he's just got an incredible voice, and you'll hear the thing, like listening to this album all the way through with the bonus tracks, is I noticed like you go from Swanks and Swells basically into this. That Swanks and Swells kind of I guess instrumental part 2 they call it, and then it goes into this track, which sounds to me notably more like better produced. So you'll have this song, which sounds better produced, and then the next couple songs sound a little bit more demo, like they weren't completely fleshed out. And then when you get into the Dio tracks, those are like pretty polished as well. So here we go. We're gonna kick it off with "I'm Looking Forward to Tomorrow," lead vocals by Billy Ocean.
That's when my friends will come around.
Just such a passionate vocalist.
I would have known it was him.
And you can even see him there at the bottom. He made the. Or is that? I can't tell if that's him or not. I'm pretty sure that's Billy Ocean on the cover of the album. May have been confusing for people when it was originally released. It was this guy, he's not even on the album.
I mean, he sounds a lot like Eddie Hardin.
So that might be Jimmy Helms, I'm not sure.
But I mean, like, same style of voice or whatever, you know? Like, if you didn't tell me it was somebody different, I'm just like, oh, okay, it was somebody that we already heard singing on the album.
And it's such a, I mean, it's such a mellow song, but I just love the passion he brings to the vocals. I mean, this song's all about the vocals. There's hardly anything else. It's just some really simple chord changes with great singing over it. And you've got those like little orchestrated strings that kind of creep in. All right. Forward to Tomorrow. Are we rating these? I got them in the spreadsheet.
I mean, yeah, we can rate them. We rated other bonus tracks, right?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. There's nobody here to tell us what to do.
Oh yeah, that's right. Let's just do it, man.
Let's do it. Let's rate it. Looking forward to tomorrow. You made everything bold again. How can we keep doing that?
I don't know. Really I'm just like,
you want to emphasize this track, I guess.
I'm just like tapping shit and like not, you know, understanding what's going on. Like, you know, I unbolded. Bold. Is that a word? Unbolded it?
Sure. Unbold.
All right. A regular 3.5. There wasn't much to this song, like you said, but I can appreciate, I mean, I didn't find it like, you know, too interesting or outstanding, but what I did like about it was it sounded like a Wizards Convention song. Mm-hmm. And now that you told me that it was Billy Ocean, I mean, like I said, I only knew his couple of hits. So it's like when I heard him sing, I could be like, yeah, I hear that's his voice, but I didn't, you know, I like the songs too. You know, those were like two hits that I like. So it's not like I'm like Billy Ocean, but I didn't realize that he was he was that versatile. Like he was like, he could sing like that, probably because I'm guessing that most of his pop stuff, he didn't do that.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, really surprised at what a good vocalist he is.
Yeah, I would recommend going back and listening to some of his stuff, particularly Red Light Means Danger, which is just a really, really great. It's got a great groove to it. It's kind of like it's almost like a dark sounding song, but it's got like this little kind of like picked up little verse, and it's just got a great chorus and awesome vocals. I just Googled Billy Ocean, and you know how like Google or recommend, like people also ask. The first question is, where is Billy Ocean right now?
Like at this moment?
Yeah, that's just kind of funny to me. Like somebody's like, I need to know where he's right now. Like I guess it just you're wondering where he lives, but it's a weird way to ask it.
Where is he right now? He's probably in a coastal community.
He's in England, apparently. I mean, it makes sense. He's English, or I think he's from Trinidad or something. But I think he's lived in England for a long time. And he has his first solo album came out the same year Wizards Convention came out, which was 1976.
I didn't know that.
I don't think I'm not familiar with that album. I'm more familiar with his like early 80s hits. So I have to check that out. I do love Billy Ocean. I'm going to give this one a 4.5. This one always just really something about his vocals just kill me. I've always loved this song, and Eddie Hardin apparently loves this song too, because he's included this on a number of different things. I think it's on one of the other Wizards conventions. It's on his Wind in the Willows album, as well as the live concert. It starts off, I think, with Maggie Bell singing it. So he's a big fan of this song. I remember when I first watched the Wind in the Willows concert, I saw them open with this song, and I was just kind of shocked. I was like, oh wow. And then as I looked at more, I realized he's kind of recycled this song a lot of times for good reasons. A really good, very mellow, like you said, but they do a lot with it. All right. The next track up is called this one is against one of the ones that sounds a little bit more like a demo, and it's called Time for Another, and this one is sung by Eddie Hardin. Hear that like that like sounds like a drum machine almost in the background. Like you hit the samba patch on the Casio keyboard.
Oh, now that you said that, I can't unhear it.
You know, one thing I never really thought about the samba patch thing either, but I also never thought about the I'll have to wait till it gets to that part again. But I'm getting a vibe from a Beatles song there.
Is it Beatles, or is it like Wings or Paul McCartney?
No, it could be a Paul McCartney.
Yeah, because that's that.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's like Band on the Run, right? Is it Band on the Run where he has that? I think it's one of the parts in Band on the Run that you're thinking of.
Maybe. It's hard for me to think of the other song when this one's playing. Not good at multitasking. Oh, that drum machine, man.
Well,
I used to have a Casio keyboard, you know?
Oh, everybody had a standard issue.
You know, you press the thing, you'd be like... You know, it's just like, all right. And then there's definitely this beat. Slow samba.
You've got that traditional like Eddie Hardin vocal with like, I don't know if it's a flange or a chorus on his vocal, but this also obviously sounds very Wizards Convention. Oh my god. So yeah, so you've got this band on the run sort of sounding thing, and God, the Beatles song, I can hear it in my head. It's gonna drive me crazy. Oh, it's a continuing story of Bungalow Bill. That's what it is when he dun 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 dun. That little melody thing he does, those little steps up.
Mm-hmm.
That I think is what I'm thinking of. Which is funny because I've literally never thought that once of the hundreds of times I listened to it before. But as soon as we played it here, I was thinking of it's like a if looks could kill, it would have been us instead of him. That little run they do up on that song. It's the same thing. I don't know if that was intentional, but that's what I'm thinking of. Anyway, again, that's more of like a demo version. I think I've spoiled you on it by mentioning the Casio keyboard, something else I didn't think of before. But what do you think of Time for Another?
I don't know how to get. What is wrong with me? There we go.
You're making everything bold again.
I think I almost changed the color of the font.
That's literally never happened before. I think like last episode you made things bold, and now you just can't stop doing it.
I don't know. I got to give this one a 2.5. It's just kind of, yeah, it's like a demo. You know what I mean? Not ready for prime time.
Yep.
You know, it's just I don't know. That's all I got. I mean, we talked through most of it, so that shows how much it grabbed me. I mean, some things are just ideas, and they're not meant to, be on an album. And
I wonder if he ever did this one again, like a different version of it. I give this one a 3. I mean, I really like it as just having listened to it a number of times as part of this album. It's just kind of been always part of the tapestry of this album to me. But yeah, it definitely sounds like it's unfinished, which for good reason. I think it's a demo. So so then we're going into kind of this is another Eddie Hardin song called the Put Down Song. And this is a little bit more fleshed out version, but I think also a demo. So let's check this out. The Put Down Song. I just like just think of him just like walking down the street kicking a can, it's like all just feeling sorry for yourself kind of song. But again, he's got some pretty good orchestrations on it.
Yeah, you're right. This is a little more realized as a song.
You wonder though if this is something he was going to try to have somebody else sing.
It almost makes me think of like I don't know, like the Partridge Family in the early 70s covering like a song from like 10 to 15 years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like a 60s song. Like it has that kind of like 60s song vibe to it.
Yeah, sure. This must be a Ray Fenwick solo. So you've got These first 4 songs are very mellow. And maybe they wanted to keep the album a little bit more upbeat. Although the whole album, I mean, there's not a lot of like rockers on the album, but
Nice.
I'm not sure who was again who's playing on that. I'm assuming Ray Fenwick, probably Mo Foster on bass. Could have been Roger Glover. He was around the studio at the time. But the Put Down song. Yeah, and I kind of like the. I mean, I'm always a fan of like some sad sack song about feeling sorry for yourself. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't like to think I'm that kind of person, but maybe I am. Who knows?
Yeah, you sad sack.
All right, the Put Down song, John. What do you think?
Put me down for a 3.5 for this one. 3.5 put downs. Yeah, I'm predictable. Yeah. It was definitely better than the last song. I liked it. And yeah, I mean, basically what I said before, you know, it just makes me think it's like a 70s version of like a 60s song. You know,
Yeah.
It just has that nice kind of mellow, you know, I think melodic vibe to it. I think it's the way that he's singing too, you know, it's almost like the I don't know how like those 60s crooners would sing, except he's not crooning, but it's like kind of the melody is similar. And then the way it ended too, on that kind of like,
and then all the strings kind of swell up and
yeah. So it's yeah, but it was good. I would say, like, you know, again, another song I wouldn't seek out, but you know, I thought it was pleasant. I thought it was good. Probably the best of the ones that we've heard so far.
I will give this one a 3.5 as well. I like it. I like I said, I like songs about sad sacks. It reminds me of the scene from I think it's Hard Day's Night where Ringo's being all depressed and he's walking down the water and he's like kicking rocks and stuff and just feeling sorry for himself. It just always it makes me think of that scene for some reason. It has nothing to do with the Beatles. Okay, so before we move on, we have to, of course, thank our patrons coming in at the core level, right? Core level, yes. At the $7.70 starting over at the $7.77 keep it warm rat tier, Michael Vader. At the $7 no one named tier, Richard Fusey. At the episode $6.66 tier, we have Steve Coldwell, Arthur Smith, and our new $6.66 patron, Anton Glaving. At the $6.65 almost evil tier, we have Kenny Wymore. At the $5.99 nice price tier, we have Fielding Fowler and Dr. Jill Brees. And at the $5 moneylender tier, we have Greg Sealby, John Convery, German Heindel, Adrian Hernandez, Jesper Alman, Alexi the Perfect Stranger Slepikoff, James North, Mark Hodgetts, Kev Roberts, Will Porter, Zwapper the Electric Alchemist, and Tim Southern Cross Johnson. Thank you so much for all your support. We might have to put the $5 moneylender tier in their own category someday because so many of them. I'll have to branch it off into 4 categories.
Yeah.
But this has become very fractured. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tiers now in that category, from $7.77 to $5. And I love that everyone's been making these creative new tiers. Keeps things very interesting. Thank you to all of you so much for supporting the show. All right. On the home stretch here with our bonus tracks. The next track up is another super mellow one before we get into some more rockin' songs. This one is called Good Night, Children. Some really classic dark electric piano sounds from the Wizards convention.
It's going on so late, so children don't wake up.
Super, super reverberated vocals there.
Oh yeah.
And if we drink too much,
Sounds like he's singing from across the room.
We talked about a song I did being influenced off of my song from Miami last week. I also did a song that was very heavily influenced by this song without really realizing it at the time. You know, you just listen to an album nonstop and then you start writing songs or recording songs and realize you're feeling huge chunks of them. So there's a kid singing with him. You know, I wonder if it's his daughter.
It's very distinctive though. You can tell it's a kid.
Yeah, it's really cool. And you know, his daughter is a singer, and I think she runs like a music school or something. Her name I think is Emma Harding. Because Eddie Hardin's real name is Eddie Harding with a G at the end. His daughter's name is Emma Harding. I wonder if that could be her. I don't know how old she is, so I don't know. And that's another thing that never occurred to me until listening to it this time is maybe that's her. Yeah, that like a rattling noise. Like I always thought that was like I always thought that was like a problem with my CD or something. When the CD skips, it sounds a little bit like that. But it's on other recordings I've heard of it. So. I don't know what it's supposed to be. Kind of have that the children. The sounds of that's the sound of the child. Is it what's the Kiss song? Is it like God of Thunder or something that has like kids in the background, like just yammering on about something?
Yeah.
I never really understood how that fit into that song, but it always seemed really weird.
I think, like, don't quote me on it, but I know. Well, I mean, I know that it was Bob Ezrin's kids fooling around in the studio with like toy guns and like ray guns and stuff like that. And I think that he didn't intentionally do it. He just recorded them like fooling around in the studio during that time or that song, and then put it in as an effect to go with the song. And it kind of like was one of those things that just they experimented and it kind of worked and added to the kind of the weird vibe really to it. Yeah, but I mean, if you listen to the studio version, it works.
Yeah.
So without it making really any sense. So
yeah, well, this song is about saying goodnight to children, so I guess it makes perfect sense to have. I kind of like the effect. Again, Eddie Hardin's always at least the standard thing he does on Wizards Convention is recording a vocal where he's singing along with somebody else. And to me, I always really liked that effect. Is you're hearing, sometimes it's just him and sometimes it's just someone else, but when he blends together with someone else, it's just kind of, I always thought it was a really cool, neat effect. But all right, Good Night Children, what do you say about this one?
I give it a 3.5. I feel about the same as I do the other bonus tracks, is like, they're all just, okay, I guess.
Yep.
I mean, I don't really like, songwriting is good, but I don't hear anything like exceptional in here.
Right.
you know, which I mean, like we said, is, you know, why they're probably bonus tracks,
Yep.
not
Could be.
main
Yeah,
tracks.
we're not dropping any fives like you did on the Play Me Out bonus track.
I bet that surprised everybody.
I did. Yeah, I almost fell out of my seat. It was
Oh, it's
good though.
good.
I celebrate it. All right. So the next track, now we're going into the Dio days here. We got 2 tracks featuring Ronnie James Dio singing along.
I don't think you rated it.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I'm
Or
sorry.
you, or
I
you-
also give this one a 3.5.
okay. Or you typed it in but didn't say anything.
I always kind of, well, I guess I can talk about it later, but I always kind of feel like this was like after Swanks and Swells was just like this really like super like upbeat punchy song. It kind of gives you like, in the context of viewing this as an actual album with this sequence, kind of it's like, oh, there's a little come down after all that, you know, there's all those big instrumental lead ups to it and everything, and then Swanks and Swells, and then it just gives you this little come down, and then it brings you back up a little bit more with the next track. So we'll go into that one next, and that is the song Summer Days
With Dio.
Summer days and your crazy ways, thought that we'd go on forever. I was wrong, 'cause now summer's gone and it looks like stormy weather. I'm sitting here getting colder, zipping out of
Said Dio's on this?
Yeah, you can hear Dio. Listen in the background. You don't hear it?
It's hard to pick them out.
It really jumps out to me. Maybe it's because I know it's coming up later.
I mean, it sounds really good. Love the vocals.
Hear him? There, it's obvious.
Yeah.
So yeah, Eddie Hardin gets like one line solo, and then Dio throws that little thing afterwards, which makes it maybe when your ear keys into it there, you can kind of pick up on it a little easier.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you didn't tell me that he was in it, I wouldn't have even known. Like this part, you can tell.
Great bass line here on too. I'm not sure who's doing the backing vocals on this. See, they're doing typical Ronnie James Dio ad-libbing at the end there.
Yeah. You're like, I can't tell that Ronnie's in. He's like, you're like, there he is. There he is.
I like that impression.
I don't need no more.
My back's against the wall.
It just makes it sound, you know, like he just like, what was the song we were laughing? It was Love Is All, right?
Yeah.
When he did that
to the wall and you're starting to fall.
and you're like, what the hell is he talking
You got
about?
someone to lean on he's just going off. We're like, and I think we talked about it too. Like he just, I think he'd done a couple of takes and then he just decided to like go off, and they're like, "Yep, that's the one we're using." So
Yeah.
that's Summer Days.
Oh, I mean, well, that just gets a 4 for having Ronnie on it. But also, I mean, I'm not just gonna hand out a 4 to, to Ronnie. I mean, the song was definitely, I feel like maybe it was cut from the album and ready to go on it or something, because I could tell there was better production. You had like the butterfly ball kind of keyboards in there, it kind of went along with the theme of the album. Yeah. And I mean, I did really like the vocals. I mean, they really like the melody, and like the tracking of the double tracking of all the vocals really went well together. Like those guys were like a kind of a hidden gem of a duo.
Yeah, and it's so, they're so tight together. Like they're singing so closely with each other until that one little line where like Eddie Hardin gets a line and then Dio does his like little screaming thing. Other than that, they're so close in sync. Like I definitely listened to this song quite a few times before I even realized, like, wait, is that Dio in the background? You just don't even really realize it because they're so, it just almost sounds like one person double tracking themselves, or you're not really sure. That being said, I think it'll be interesting to hear like an Eddie Hardin only version or a Dio only version mix of this. Like I think that would be really
cool.
interesting to hear what they sounded like. All right, buckle up, my friend. I got to give this one a 5. I know.
What?
I know. Sorry. I'm not sorry at all. This is a song that is always in my head. Like I'm always singing that little, I'm sitting here in a corner sipping on another beer. Like I don't know why. Like it's just kind of like my good time, fun time, summertime song. Always like there's not like a week that goes by where I'm not singing this chorus to myself, like
interesting,
like random. I don't know what it is. I know it's your first listen, so listen back to it a few more times. I don't know that's going to get up to a 5 for you, but it's just one of those ones that always jumped out to me as being, when I first heard it, I was like, why the hell didn't they put this on the original album? Of course they had limits back then too. You can only fit so much on a record, but I always really, really loved this track. And then when I learned it was Dio on top of that, and I just thought it was, I think it's a great production, great songwriting, great, like just that it's a simple arrangement, works really well. Always really loved the song. So that's number 1 of the Dio tracks. Then we go to the last bonus track, and that one's called Seems I'm Always Gonna Love You. And here we go into, this to me was like the album closer.
This is Dio too?
This is Dio as well. It took you up a little bit on Summer Days, and now it's bringing you back down. Every other song that we've listened to is exactly 3 minutes. This one's 4 minutes, so it's a little bit of a longer track. That unmistakable Eddie Hardin piano playing. No Dio yet, obviously. There he is.
Weird to think of Dio as like a support vocal, like a backing vocalist.
Right. to someone like Eddie Hart. Like I love Eddie Hardin's voice, but
well, I'm not saying it's like beneath him or that he's like, anything like that. I'm just like, you're not used to hearing Dio in the back like that, just being a support for, it works. It's great, But I mean, he obviously did what was right for, what he felt was right for the song. Although I was looking forward to some Dio lead vocals.
yeah, I mean that would be. And it is unusual given the fact that he had so many other lead vocalists on this album that he didn't give Dio his own track.
Well,
it could have been just one of those things too, like he was hanging around the studio that day like, hey, why don't you jump in the booth, we'll do some background vocals on this track I just recorded the other day, and that's how it came about.
I mean, we've also talked about too, like, I mean, you have like musicians that are like so great and they know like they don't always have to be like the star or the virtuoso, like they could just jump in and do a guest spot or something like this, and because they're, at the end of the day, they're still musicians.
Nice Ray Fenwick solo here.
Nice.
It's funny what you were just saying about these great musicians, and kind of know I at the same time, even given the respect we have for him, I can't imagine him asking Glenn Hughes to just be like, hey, could you just go, seems I'm always gonna love you, and don't deviate from that, Glenn, just sing. Okay, got it. He would have been just all over the map with that. And the tracks that Glenn Hughes sings on this album were some of our favorites. Like his lead vocals were amazing, but at least at that point, I don't know that he would have been able to do what Dio was doing.
Yeah.
It was so simple. And again, one of those things where I don't think I even realized it was Dio at first.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think of Seems I'm Always Gonna Love You?
I'll give this one a 4 as well.
All right.
I think it's another good one. It's another good song. I don't know, I just like how mellow they are. And hey, any like discovering any new Dio at all is, him on anything is always a good thing. There's, like I've said many times, there's not a lot that he's been on that I don't like.
Sure. Yeah. And I think I think this whole version is on Spotify. It's a great one. Like, we're in this late summer here to just roll your car windows down and just crank Summer Days and on your drive to work or something. It's an uplifting track. As far as this one, I will agree with you and also give this one a 4. I always really seems I'm always going to love the song. And I really do dig the production of it, the synths, the guitar solo, the arrangement, and it's all of the tracks we listened to tonight are really simple. Like there was none that had a lot of some of the ones on the Wizards convention, the arrangements were like insane, all the different parts and changes and all that, and none of these were really trying to be anything else. And I think some of it is, like we talked about, just them trying out some ideas, or maybe these weren't 100% fleshed out, but I don't really care. I think they're a good song is a good song. They've got some good melodies, good hooks to them, and I think this one closes out the album and the bonus tracks nicely. So that's it. Those are the bonus tracks from Wizards Convention. We promised you a short episode, and we gave you a short episode. So but just didn't want to leave that hanging out there too long. Just like the Play Me Out bonus tracks, the way we were introduced to these albums were through these CD releases in the 90s. And a lot of the times they included original albums with newer tracks and older tracks and everything just thrown right on there. So that's kind of the way that we grew up listening to these albums, was hearing, to me, that was all part of Wizards Convention. It wasn't getting the album in 1976 and then 20 years later hearing it on the re-release. It was hearing it all at the same time. So
Right.
All right, before we end this episode, we do have to do one more thing, which is, of course, to thank our foundation level patrons. Anton Glaving will not be joining them this week, I'm sad to say. At the $3 Nobody's Perfect tier, Peter Gardeau, Ian DeRosier, Mark Roback, Andrew Meyer, Duncan Leask, and Stuart McCord. And at the $1 made-up name tier, we have Els Murders, Spacey Noodles, The Insecure, Leaky Mausoleum, Steven Somerville, The Concerto 1999 Fanatic, Raf Calf, Spike the Rock Cat, JJ Stenard, Hank the Tank, and Flight of the Rat Bat Blue Light. Thank you so much to all of you for being patrons. Some of you since almost the very, very beginning. We really appreciate it. And we hope to continue to delight you with more episodes in the future, one of which we're going to be recording in about 11 hours now. So imagine that.
Okay.
Might be our fastest turnaround, although we've done some crazier ones than that before. Probably.
No, we have.
We should just let the mystery we should leave the mystery to our listeners. Just say, no, we always show up at the same time every week.
Yeah, you don't want to ruin the magic behind the curtain that is
guys, this
the
is
glamorous.
Look at this unbelievable magic back here.
The glamour, you know.
You see the window up there that's really dark. It's going to be light on our next episode. Oh, the magic is unbelievable. How do we do it? What an amazing community we've built here. All right. Well, Johnny, I'll see you tomorrow morning for our listeners in another week where we talk about another topic about Deep Purple. But what will it be? Well, you'll have to wait till next week to find out. All right, John. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let's have a great one, and I'll talk to you next week.
Tomorrow.
All right.
Bye.
All right, later.
Thank you for listening to the Deep Purple Podcast. If you like what you hear and would like more episodes in the future, please donate on Patreon to support the show. You can also leave us a review in Apple Podcasts to help new people discover the show. You can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for show updates. See deeppurplepodcast.com for more details. Thank you for listening.